What time is it?
Okay, we have some fabulous live music later on, but right now, here's the kind I prefer.
Oh,
Sanchez.
Mr. DJ Head, how are you,
What's
sir?
up, dog? I'm good.
Oh
How you
man,
doing?
I'm just enjoying my day. This is my motherfucking birthday, you know. So,
Oh shit! Happy birthday, bro.
thank you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us, for blessing us with your presence on WestCoastStyles.com. This is the continuation of West Coast Riders, man. We're bringing the
Oh, that's
legacy
dope.
back, but doing something new and evolving it. So so it's exciting time, and when we're glad to have you here. And I'm familiar with your story because you've shared some of it on your social media and all that. But some of the people out there may not be. So why don't you tell us about the humble beginnings that you and your mother had to go through before you got to this stage in your life?
You talking about like me and like my mom and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. Because
Um,
that's inspiring to me. I read I look at your story and I'm like, man, you had to overcome some fucking odds in your life.
yeah, I think it's just interesting because there's so many people that have the same story as me, and I like to talk about it just because I know like me coming up, I didn't really have a lot of people to look up to like that. Like I didn't really have a lot of people that were like me, I guess you could say, because I was around all of the
Yeah.
gangsters. So me and my mom, we were just like, obviously this is before my brother and sister came. My mom and I were just really trying to figure it out and make it. My mom was a young mom. She was like 22, I think. And we were just on our own because she left home. And so she figured it out. I just remember early years of me going to work with my mom, because she would have two, three jobs, selling
Yeah.
Avon and whatever she could do. And I remember going to work with her a few times, and like the white ladies looking at us like, like she's bringing her kid to work, like that type of shit. And
Yeah.
I remember how those ladies looked at me. It was just so, I guess, demeaning or degrading, I guess. And when they looked at me that way, it kind of like, it made me feel like I don't like this feeling. So when I became older, I think when I got into sixth grade is when I got my first job. And that was just because
Wow.
I know my mom needed help. Yeah, I got my first job. I had to get her consent and all that, but I worked on campus at school at the cafeteria, and because I just wanted to help. And I saw my mom struggle a lot. We slept in cars, couch hopped, lived with people. I went to 5 elementary schools. So it was one of them things that I was like, man, I really want to do something. I really want to be a contributor and help my mom the best way I can. So that's when I got my job, and we kind of just been rocking out ever since then. And then when I got into like high school and stuff like that, it kind of took me a while to adjust because I couldn't, like, we were in Carson, but my mom wouldn't let me go to my home school. So, which was either Carson High or Banning High. And I couldn't go there because she didn't want me a part of the bullshit. So I ended up taking, like, I would have to take 2 buses to school and 2 buses back to go to GAR and Cerritos. And because she wanted me to have a better education.
How did you find that inspiration to do what you're doing now? Because, like you said, you didn't have a lot of role models. You didn't have a lot of people that just be there and be like and push you in that direction and give you that motivation. You had to find it somehow.
Well, I think it comes from my mom. Like a lot of my get out comes from my mom. I was crazy that you asked me this because I was just talking to Terrace Martin right before we got on, and me and him was on the
Wow.
phone, and he was like, "Bro, you need to share more of why you are." People know what you are, but people need to know why. And I think a lot of that comes
Uh,
from my mom. My mom never candy coated anything. She never told me, she never hid anything from me. She always told me the truth. And I think that's where I get it from. So the inspiration came from that, like being able to be authentically myself from an early age. I wanted to play baseball. She put me in baseball. I wanted to play basketball. She put me in basketball. I wanted to stop and I wanted to skateboard. She took me to the skate shop and let me buy a skateboard. And I was out there hurting myself every day, learning how to skateboard. So it just came from like my mom really putting that battery in my back, like whatever you want to do, as long as it's productive, then I'm gonna support you kind of thing. And the motivation came from currently what I do is because the lack thereof. I feel like we didn't have a lot of people. I mean, you know, you was there. We didn't have a lot of people like myself looking out. And for lack of a better way to say it, like you had your select few people, you know what I'm saying? There were DJ Dences of the world and different people like that who actually, you know, threw the rope back, Tiffany Haddish. But a lot of people didn't throw the rope back. A lot of people was just kind of like, well, you wanna get on the radio, rap on one of my beats, or I'm not coming to your show unless you pay me, or I'm not coming to do your interview unless you give me gas money. I've given people gas money to come do interviews with me. Have you?
Yeah, I've done similar situations.
Okay. So with that being said, when me and Chuck were doing Homegrown, like even before that, when I was doing my radio show at Cerritos College, I've literally paid for parking, gotten people food, giving people gas money just to come do an interview with me. So I always told myself, like, man, one day I'm gonna get in position, bro. I don't know how long it's gonna take, and I don't know when it's gonna happen. But when I'm in position, I'm gonna change all of this shit. When it comes to people taking money for an opinion, or you know, when it comes to people wanting to buy this or intimidate their way in, or whatever the case, I'm tearing all of this shit down. All of this shit is coming down.
Wow. That's pretty amazing, because we all know how the radio business is, how it's operated for years, for decades before you even got there. You know, things were in place where that system was the common thing to do for DJs, you know.
It's
And
not even just for DJs. It's really for everybody, because you got to think about it. Like, if like I remember, when YG, Joe Moses, OT, when they were coming up, those were like the three main people, right? Obviously, Mustard and Ty were around too, but when those three had records, Go Bitch was popping in the city, Tooted and Booted was popping in the city, and Jackie Chan was popping in the city. Promoters at the clubs that I was DJing at, the same promoters that booked these motherfuckers, were telling me, don't play LA music in the club in Los Angeles. We were doing clubs downtown LA, and the promoters told me not to play LA music. And I was like, what the fuck are we doing here then? Like, that's the reason why I want to do this, is because I want to play our shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to play, I mean, no disrespect, but I don't give a fuck what they got going on on the other side. Like, I don't really care. I want to play our shit. That's a true story. And everybody who knows that was around, Joe me and Joe talked about this before. And shout out to my homie Steve, who's now he works for Dre's in Vegas. He was around for all that shit. Pool, Glasses, we were all around for all of that shit. Them telling us, hey, don't play the LA shit in here tonight. And it's like, bro, what the fuck? So because like that's a big chip I got on my shoulder. But people want to know why I'm always yelling West Coast and I'm always standing my ground on shit, is because that's where I come from. I come from people telling me not to play our shit. I come from people telling us that our shit ain't good enough. I come from people telling us that, oh, well, this person will never make it out the West. That being said, that's where that chip on my shoulder come from, and that's why I go like I go.
Well, you know, I identify with that, because that's the same reason why I helped create West Coast Riders. Because back in 2003, you know, imagine when you got in the game, how rough it was. Imagine how 2003 was. You know, it was really fucked up, you know, especially on the website game, you know. I mean, man, dudes couldn't get a feature or a spotlight on any of these other websites for nothing.
I had a problem with the websites too. I felt like once the other sites started coming along, they kind of were a boutique, if you will, like almost like a in crowd of music blogs type of thing. Like when Shake and Mecca came around, they were doing Two Dope Boys. It's like Two Dope Boys was dope and instrumental in the TDE thing, but that's about it. That's another reason why we added the Homegrown Radio blog to shit, because it was like, bro, like we got a whole lot of shit out here that needs some light.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the West Coast, there's so much talent everywhere, and a lot of it gets ignored and overlooked. A lot of these people only like to pay attention to Top Dog, and would shout out to them. Of course, we support and love them, but they're not the only ones in town, I really identify with what you and Chuck Dizzle are doing and have done, and I've been a big supporter of it for that reason. And I was really, really excited when you two landed the spot at Real 92.3, because we need people like you guys there in those positions.
Man, you think you was excited? I was like, you remember that studio session when K-Dot got the Jay-Z verse on Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe remix, and
Yes.
a video came out where they was documenting the process of recording the song, and Ab Soul was like, bro, they really let us in. Like, they really let us in the music industry. That's how I felt. That's how I felt when I got to iHeart. I'm like, y'all really let me in, like in real life? Like, you done fucked up. You know what I'm saying? you done fucked up, bro. Because I'm finna cause a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about the type of walls that you've had to like crush down and then break and all that, in being in the position that you are. Or have they been very cooperative?
Every wall imaginable. I've been to a point where I was walking out of the building on the phone with Salas and him talking me out of quitting. I don't think I've ever talked about that publicly, but that's happened. I was like, frustration. When I first got there, and I'm gonna be fully, transparent. When I first got there, they were playing Ty Dolla $ign's Paranoid. It had Joe Moses on it. Everybody knows that's Ty and Joe Moses on Paranoid. Well, the label did a national thing and took Joe Moses off and put B.O.B. on it to give it more national appeal, because B.O.B. was a national artist, or is a national artist, but at that time B.O.B. was the guy, right? So when I got to iHeart, that's the version that they were playing. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what are we doing in here? Like, we are not playing B.O.B. version of Paranoid on the radio in LA. I don't understand now, mind you, I have no real radio experience. It's my first time being hired by a station. I've done guest spots on other stations, but this is my first job, right? That's one. Two, this is my first job since 2007. I've been in the streets since 2007. From 2007, when I got fired at AAA, to 2015, when I got hired at iHeart, I was in the streets with y'all running around, right? So I had a job. So I was like, I'm fresh out the streets. I don't got no corporate etiquette. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the meetings cussing. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, bro, let us show you some shit, and then we'll have this conversation. So they had to educate me. They really schooled me on what radio is about, how it works, the politics, the business of radio, the do's and don'ts of radio. I had to learn radio, because you got to think, since 2009-ish, me and Chuck been doing this shit out the mud. We just turn on the microphones, plug the turntables up, and we going. So It ain't like I never had any radio etiquette in that way. So once I finally got an education on how radio works, what radio is, what it's about, what we actually do, what the purpose of it is, it was like, oh shit, okay, I understand. And I had to calm down.
But it's cool, because they must have really believed in you, because they could have easily just canned you.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I want to shout out to my boss, Doc Winter. Definitely one of the best bosses I've ever had in my life. Him and the homie Victor. Those are the best bosses I think I've ever had in my life. Victor trusted me, and Doc Winter trusted me. And I felt like that it was the same thing. I had to earn it. You know what I'm saying? I had to earn the trust, But he loves the person that I am, and they love that I'm outspoken. They love that I don't hold my tongue. They love that they take risks, by fucking with me. But at the same time, there's a lot of reward and a lot of upside, I believe, to having somebody that is not afraid to be authentically themselves 100% of the time. And don't get me wrong, it's not been all sweet either. Like you said, the battles and the struggles, like I've gone through my fair share. I've gotten complaints filed against me at the radio station.
I love it. So you're doing the homegrown radio, and you're also with Bootleg Kev, correct?
Yeah. Me and Kev, Monday through Friday on Real 92.3, and then homegrown radios every Saturday.
Okay. You being, DJ Hed and all that, what's your advice for people giving you music, trying to get on the radio?
Don't. That's what I tell everybody. Stop trying to get on the radio. The thing that you're striving for should be to make great music. The radio will come to you. That being said, I never went and interned at a radio station. I've never applied to Power 106. I remember Big Boy asking me that. Why you never applied to come to the radio station? Because I know what it is. I want to come in with brand equity. I want to come in as myself already. I don't want you to define. I want you to make me. I want to make myself, and I want you to I want you to want to be a part of what I'm doing. So I look at artists the same way. If your goal is to get on the radio, that's a cool goal to have, but that shouldn't be your end all. My end all be all was not to be on terrestrial radio. My end all be all was to provide a platform for people that come from where I come from and for to be authentic. That was our goal. We actually built Homegrown Radio to be anti-radio, to keep it a buck with you, because they weren't at the time. The radio stations were party rocking. They wasn't really playing LA hip hop like that. We built Homegrown Radio to be the anti-establishment. You know what I'm saying? A place for people like us to go to Chuck's apartment and fellowship and play our own shit and talk about our own music. That's where you get the TDEs, and that's where you get all of that, the problems and the bad lucks and Terrace Martins and the Ty Dolla Signs and all of that shit. So I look at it as the same way. I never chased radio, neither should you.
Okay. So you want an artist kind of like to just make enough noise in the streets, and you guys come along and be like, yo, what's up?
The mistake that people make is they let their ego take over. And they come in like, man, I'm the hottest motherfucker. I'm the hottest nigga in the streets. I got the hottest song. Well, if you had the hottest song in the streets, you wouldn't have to tell me that you got the hottest song in the streets. You know what I'm saying? If you got the hottest product, if you got the best work in the city, you wouldn't have to tell me that. Somebody else is gonna tell me. And that's when that shit matters. That's the true testament of how this works.
Well, and I bring this up because, a lot of people try to get on radio and they're unsuccessful in getting on radio, and then they blame the people on radio for it. You know what I'm saying?
When we were coming up, radio was the only outlet. So I understand that from older dudes. Younger dudes, bro, you got YouTube, DSPs, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, you got SoundCloud. You got all these different ways to get your music heard. If you are making the noise that you claim to be making, somebody's gonna be hitting you up. Like it's not hard, bro. It's not. That's why people are like, oh, I want to start a podcast. Start a podcast. Go get the Anchor app. You could talk right into your phone and put it out on all the platforms within minutes. It's like all this shit is accessible to you. There are no gatekeepers and all that. That's over with. You know what I'm saying? Trying to go to the radio. If you record a song today, and before you put it anywhere, you trying to bring it to me to play it on the radio, you're making a mistake, because how do you know that this is a viable product? The radio is not a place to test music. It's not a place, and it used to be. It used to be a place to like bump it or dump it type segments or whatever. That's why I do honest feedback for artists. That's why I do that, because nobody else is offering that platform and that outlet. And I understand that. So that's why I do it. It's like, all right, you think your shit is ready? I'll tell you right now. Let's go. All right, I play it. No, this is not ready. Well, what you mean it's not ready? It's not mixed. Oh yeah, I didn't get it mixed. What are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about?
So I imagine that you have people coming up to the office, dropping off their CDs and all that.
No,
You know,
that's
no,
old school, bro. Hell no, I don't even take CDs from people no more. And the reason I do that is because we used to press, Tim, we used to press up thousands and thousands of CDs. That shit costs money. And I'm not finna do you like that. It ain't probably a rapper in this city that don't got my email in real life. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because everywhere I go, they be like, here, my CD. I'm not taking your CD. The homies By the Bag, Conrad from the Abs. The By the Bag crew told me that they actually had an issue with me, and I didn't even know. And they were like, I was like, what you mean? And he said, because I met you at the Crenshaw game, you was DJing for Big U. And I met you at the Crenshaw game for the kids, and you was DJing, and you wouldn't take the CD that I was trying to give you. That's my thing. You spent money to press up your CD. I don't even have a computer or nothing. I literally had to borrow a fucking CD drive from a friend of mine to burn a DVD. Nobody has CD players like that. So I'm not gonna take your CD from you knowing you spent money to press that up, and it's just gonna end up in the floor of my truck. And when I go get a car wash, they're gonna throw it away. That's how they work. That's the truth. So I'm gonna tell you the truth. The truth is, I'm not gonna take your CD, bro, because you spent money on that CD, pressing that up, doing the digipack, or getting the nice artwork pressed up. I'm not finna do you like that. Take my email me the whole zip file, and I'll consume it that way when I get a minute. I'm not gonna take your CD and just floss you like, oh, for sure, and just throw that shit in the trash. I'm not gonna do you like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, all the artists out there, I just have to say that, DJ Hed is going to give you the truth. If you ever want to really find out the truth about your song, let this man listen to it, because he's not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you are known for your playlists. Why don't you tell us right now who's hot in the city and who you fucking with? Like, what names out there that are like, yo,
man, you're trying to
who
get me
you
in
need to
trouble.
pay attention.
I mean, I'm listening to a lot of different things. I consume a lot of different music. As far as like LA shit, I'm be honest with you though, I don't listen to a lot of stuff from everywhere else. Like, people be like, oh, 42 Doug. I don't know a lot of 42 Doug's music, to be honest with you. I'm listening to our shit. I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, no disrespect, but I'm listening to, Villain Park. They from West LA. I'm listening to Kalen. He from here. I'm listening to Rucci. I'm listening to AZ Chike, One Take J. I'm listening to RJ. I'm listening to Bino. Blast. Blast is my favorite. Blast is probably, and a lot of Blast is low key one of my favorite artists that I think probably in a long time, to be honest, because a lot of people don't know, which I've never really talked about it publicly, but I tried to sign Blast like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Wow.
And you know me, 10 plus years, Tim. When have you ever heard me say I want to sign an artist?
Never.
I've been doing this shit 15 years plus, and I have never in my life wanted to sign an artist. And about almost 2 years ago, I tried to sign Blast. And this is before, the Bino and plot projects. And this is before all of that. It was based on, because I knew me and Silas, we do. And Silas told me before I even realized, he said, Blast is the key to what's going on. And so I called him. I told him the truth. I said, bro, I think you could be the guy, bro. And I want to be a part of that. Let's figure it out. Let's put something together. He was like, let's meet. We had a meeting, me, him, my business partner, and Blast just, he just got out of his other situation. He kind of really just wanted to spread his wings and do his own thing. And I respected it. I plugged him with a couple of things and told him, like, I'm going to support you whether we do business or not, because you one of them guys. You one of them ones. And yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Like, I actually tried to sign Blast about 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, him and I really like I like Perico. I love what Hit Boy is doing, producing on everybody's stuff right now. One of my favorites too is the homie from my city. His name is Jason Cash. Jason Cash just signed to Atlantic Records, but I've been telling people about Jason Cash for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad to see him finally getting his look. I'm really just putting on for us, bro. And I always say, like, I'm not anti anybody. I'm just pro us.
Well, brother, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, to give some game out there to the artist. Much needed game, you know what I'm saying? More people need to hear this and get an understanding of what's going on and what they should do and not do, So I really appreciate you speaking your mind and your truths and just, man, always be who you are. Never change, brother.
Man, I appreciate that. I also want to shout out to Reason. I listen to Reason's album. Reason got the best storytelling in the game right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know Nas is the guy, but Reason's so special, and I don't even think Reason fully understand how special he is. D Smoke. I'm so happy to see D Smoke getting his just due after 10 plus years. Like, we all come from the same class, and I think that I think that it's about time that we start getting these looks in real life. Mm-hmm. There's this new girl named Nana. She just turned 18, or I think she just turned 18 or 19. She's gonna be one of the biggest stars out of LA. Remember, I told you that.
I'll have to keep my eye out for her. Nana.
Her name is Nana. She was a teenager when I started tapping in with her, actually she's the second artist that I've ever tried to do business with. She was 17, writing, singing, producing her own videos, directing her own videos, like with iPhones and shit. Like, she's amazing. Nana is going to be a huge, huge star.
Good stuff, man. We need to get you your own record label, man. You need to be signing some folks and putting all these fuckers out.
It's in the works.
Good stuff, brother. All right. Well, thank you for your time. I know you're busy, man, and you've got stuff to do. So I'm going to go ahead and let you, get about your business. But thank you again for blessing us, man. And we got your back, brother.
I appreciate you, Tim.
All right, brother. Okay, man. Take care, brother.
All right, look. All right.